It's time for the Instigator, the in-your-face hockey podcast that is loaded with controversy and criticism. This hockey talk rant will spark your hockey thoughts and opinions. When controversy happens in the hockey world, the Instigator is there to fire off their opinion. You may agree, but you just might wholeheartedly disagree. That's what brings you back. Get ready for in-your-face hockey talk and controversy. The Instigator is hosted by Burud and is a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio.
Bomb against Lindholm. In deep, Zach Kassian gets bumped hard by you-know-who, Tkachuk. And Kassian's mad, and here we go. Now there's going to be penalties in the game. They've been going at each other on and off all night, and Zach Kassian is incensed.
Welcome to the Instigator, episode number 38, recorded on January 15th, 2020. I am the host of the show, Brad Burud from Inside Edge Hockey News. And today we have a real interesting and controversial topic that kind of took the hockey world by storm. Saturday night as Zach Kassian attacked Matthew Tkachuk, and now the hockey world is defending Kassian? Is it okay to ragdoll a player? Is it okay to turtle? Kassian, the villain, is now the good guy, and Tkachuk is the bad guy? So is jumping a player okay? Maybe in 1980 it was okay, but I'm not so sure that in 2020 jumping a player is okay. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Inside Edge Hockey News, faking the slapper and going top shelf.
All right, hockey fans. Saturday night, the Battle of Alberta got just a tad bit heated. Really only at one point of the game it got heated, but it was still really, really good and made for, quite honestly and shockingly, kind of the biggest drama we've had all year in the National Hockey League. I couldn't believe how this craziness between Matthew Tkachuk and Zach Kassian completely took the hockey world and the Twitter world by storm. It blew my mind. Give you a quick rundown. Check Inside Edge Hockey News out for the video and all the description of this. I'll give you a quick rundown. Tkachuk made 3 hits on Zach Kassian throughout the night, 2 of which knocked his helmet off. I think you just tighten your damn helmet, Mr. Kassian, instead of looking like the cool guy out there. Now, the second hit by Tkachuk, maybe a little marginal. And then the third one was okay, none of which got penalties or suspensions from the league. But Kassian went nuts, ragdolling Tkachuk as Tkachuk turtled. So, the final results of this: no suspension for Tkachuk, no discipline for Tkachuk, no penalties for Tkachuk. Kassian gets 2-game suspension from player safety for his actions in the situation. During the 4-minute penalty, which Kassian received a 4-minute roughing and a 10-minute misconduct. During the 4 minutes, Calgary scored on the power play and wins the hockey game. 2 points for Calgary, moves them into first place in the Pacific. Pretty good reward if you're a Flames fan or a Flames player. Now, I'll give you my rundown on what I think is good about it and what I think is bad about it. Then we'll talk a little bit about the banter back and forth between players after the game and as the week's gone on, and a few other things. Okay, Zach Kassian, I've never had a lot of respect for. He's a wannabe first liner. He would not be a first liner on any other team other than the Edmonton Oilers. Sorry, Edmonton fans, but that's the truth. Now, Matthew Tkachuk walks the line, has stepped over the line a couple times, not as many as people think. I'm a fan of his, but a critic of his. I question Matthew Tkachuk's work ethic quite often. I do a podcast called FlamesUnfiltered.com and .com. Flames Unfiltered Hockey Podcast. You can check it out on a Hockey Podcast Network or at FlamesUnfiltered.com. For more information on this topic, we talked about it all week on the shows. I'm a Matthew Tkachuk fan, but I'm also a critic of Matthew Tkachuk. And I like what he did in this game, because what he did in this game was give the Flames a spark. Matthew Tkachuk's a very smart player in the fact that he knew that he could get under Zach Kassian's skin. He did just that without crossing the line and even taking a penalty himself. He had Kassian going nuts. What nobody's talked about in this is mid-second period, after the second hit, Zach Kassian took a hellacious run at Matthew Tkachuk, in which Matthew Tkachuk ducked out of. Nobody's talking about that run. Zach Kassian's sure not talking about that run. Should there have been a penalty on the hit that caused the ruckus? Yeah, I think so. I think it was a charging. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was a good hit. But there wasn't a call, but I didn't like it. Now, as for the turtling, I'm not a fan of turtling. I'm an old school guy, and I think that you make your bed, you lay in it, you stand up for yourself, and you go to work. Do I think what Matthew Tkachuk was, his actions were genius in a way? But yeah, as much as I'm an old school guy that likes to see a guy stand up and fight, Matthew Tkachuk played Kassian like a fiddle. He knew he could bait him. He did. Kassian went to the penalty box. Flames scored, and the Flames won. Is it a good look to get turtled and not fight back? No, it's not. But Tkachuk said it's not the time and place to be fighting him. And he's not the guy to fight. What a lot of people are forgetting here is Matthew Tkachuk is I wouldn't say a superstar in the league, but he's at least a star player. Zach Kassian's not even close to that. That's not a trade-off that makes any sense if you're from Calgary. Not a trade-off at all. Now, after the game, Kassian was spouting off, calling Tkachuk numerous explicitives. Said he didn't mind the hits and didn't mind the way Tkachuk plays, but he called him a pussy for not backing it up and fighting. Kassian's coach, Dave Tippett, was not happy after the game. He said, I'd like to see him get his number. You're in a tight game. It's 3-3. Get a number. Deal with it later. Deal with winning the game. So my question is, was Zach Kassian really worried about winning the game? Because that was sure a selfish move if you're really, truly worried about getting 2 points. Or were you worried about settling a score? And that's where Matthew Tkachuk was a genius. He knew that he could get Kassian to not worry about the game and winning the game, but winning the dispute. And you know what? If you're the Edmonton Oilers and Kassian's more worried about that, that is infectious and bleeds off onto the teammates. And you heard crazy comments from Draisaitl, the real deal James Neal, and stuff. It incensed the team that Tkachuk was able to play Kassian like a fiddle. And I don't doubt that there isn't a few Edmonton Oilers players that sat in the locker room after and were like, that was a dumb play by Kassian. And I got a feeling a lot of the Oilers players were not really happy about it either. Now, Tkachuk commented after he was a little bit more low-key about it. He says, I caught him 3 times. You'd think he would learn. Well, you know what? That is another comment that really isn't being talked about by the media a lot. How many players have you seen get hit over the years and everybody in the media and the hockey world say, well, he should have had his head up? Well, guess what? Shouldn't Zach Kassian have had his head up? My gosh, he got hit 3 times. Tkachuk went on to say if he wants to react that way, we'll take the power play, we'll take the game winner, and we'll move into first place. Well, that is the truth, and that is another reason why Zach Kassian is losing his damn mind this week. If he doesn't want to get hit, then stay off the tracks, Tkachuk told reporters. He didn't learn after the first one. Now, Kassian has went on this week to say numerous things about you wait till the 29th when this goes to fruition. Now, what should happen on the 29th when they rematch? And what is going to happen? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I know the league's going to come in and say to the general managers, coaches, and players, nothing's going to happen. If it happens, the suspensions will be enormous. The penalties will be enormous. Do I think something will happen? I don't think there'll be a ton of dirtiness. I think there'll be a fight. Will it be Tkachuk and Kassian? I highly doubt it. I think Lucic is going to want to step in and fight Kassian. I don't know if Kassian will take the bait. I think that's what will happen. What I'd like to see happen is I'd like to, off the opening draw, old school, I'd like to see Matthew Tkachuk drop him with Kassian, get it out of the way, get it done, get the incident in the past, and go on. And if I was Tkachuk, I'd fight him right away, and then I would drive him batshit crazy the rest of the night. I'd be all over him, after him, doing it again. And I might even take it up a notch, and I'd maybe start driving other players nuts, like McDavid and Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins, like Calgary did 2 years ago. Probably won't be a lot that happens. But you know what? There is a ton of people who cannot wait for round 3, 4, and 5 of the Battle of Alberta. And that is going to be amazing to watch and must-watch TV if you're a hockey fan. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out in the next couple weeks when more crazy stuff happens in the National Hockey League. Get connected. Inside Edge Hockey News can be found on Twitter at Inside Edge Hockey. You can also check out the Facebook page, Inside Edge Hockey News. Check out host Brad Burud on Twitter at Brad Burud. And if you like what you hear, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on all major podcast players, and consider subscribing to the Inside Edge Hockey News on Patreon. That'll get you exclusive content and much more. Thanks again, and enjoy the hockey action.
Leads to McDavid, cutting in, and what a goal by Connor McDavid! Oh my goodness!
Just a sublime, decadent, suave tally as he goes between the legs, pulls Hudobin off his angle, and roofs it.
Thanks for listening to The Instigator. Check back for future episodes or download the show on your favorite podcatcher. Keep up to date with all the hockey news at Inside Edge Hockey News. And check us out on all forms of social media. Until next rant, take care and enjoy the hockey action.
This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.